So, Cheryl Swoopes has been a consistent story in the WNBA season, especially when surrounding the best rookie in the W, Caitlin Clark. Just everything with Cheryl Swoopes, whether it's some things like over-exaggerated and other things that has just been like started from her and spiraled. And one thing I will say is I got to give Cheryl Swoopes credit. She's kind of kept her name out of the spotlight. And this is more so a video just looking back on something from about a month ago. There's been nothing with Cheryl Swoopes. She hasn't said anything. In the Angel Reese podcast, the one thing I actually, as much as anything, don't like about Cheryl Swoopes, she does always try to change the truth. Like, there's been no real refusal to be like, I was wrong. Like, which the Cheryl Swoopes, Caitlin Clark stuff in college, it was like 7 or 8 things that she did. And she goes to, she apologizes to Caitlin about saying that she played an extra year because of COVID. And not like a whole bunch of other stuff that she said. Like, shoots 40 times a game. Like, that was the worst one, being like, oh, she only scores because she shoots 40 times a game. Like, that was really the worst insult. But obviously, you can't brush that one off with, I didn't know, I got confused. Like, and then there was obviously the Dejanay Carrington tweet when she posted a laugh, and she said that it wasn't actually a tweet from Dejanay. I don't even know. She was like, oh, it was her. She tweeted at Alyssa Thomas. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then, obviously, this one right here, and then obviously in the Angel podcast, she completely lied about the 50 seconds of silence. She was like, oh, that's normal. It was like, no, it was like 20 seconds of silence while he was waiting for you to say something. But yeah, like, I have to talk about this because nothing has been proven more wrong than the Cheryl Swoopes take of there are prominent players that want to leave Indiana because of locker room issues. Like, I'm not joking. I'm not joking with that. And, like, there might be one player whose name rhymes with Balissa who might want to leave Indiana. But you can that is not a locker room issues. Because you can realistically find out almost anything that's going on with Nalissa Smith by just looking at her brother's Twitter. If she wants to go because of Christy Sides. That Indiana Fever team, she consistently throughout, even when she was like, oh, when things were tough on social media, she consistently talked about how much her teammates helped her through everything, how much her teammates helped her through the year, how much she appreciates her teammates. Like, there was no locker room rift at all. But, like, it might be the closest team in the WNBA because of all the crap they've had to deal with. It's one of those situations where it's like, with all the social media stuff that's going around, that's happening around you, you go either one of two ways as a team. You either become one of the closest knit teams in the league, or you go down the Chicago Sky route. And I do think a lot of it is about winning, because we saw what looked like a gritty, altogether super high morale Chicago Sky team early in the year when they started winning. And then we saw a Fever team looking like they were going to implode. And then obviously once Fever started winning, it flips. Just like the Aces. The Aces looked like one of the most together teams for years, and at times this year they just didn't look good at all. So, including winning kind of does help with that. But we're even out here seeing like the Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, like the two of them. And the fact is that like she heavily implied that Kelsey Mitchell, not even that she should leave, that she is going to leave the Fever because of Caitlin Clark. And again, she did not quote that. She did not say anything about Kelsey Mitchell. She just implied it. I'm not going full L Duncan here. Obviously, Cheryl Swoopes never says anything in guarantees. She basically said that, and then she was asked on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, she was like, wait, are you talking to the players? And she just goes, no, I'm not talking to the players. I'm just saying maybe. I'm just saying if I was them, if I was these players, I want to leave. And I'm like, you're trying to push players out the door. First of all, you're trying to make up there's locker room issues. And then after that, you're trying to say, oh, like, look, and like you know these players respect you. Heck, like anyone not respecting the game of Cheryl Swoopes is crazy. But you know how much respect you have in the league, and then you going like, you know what, I would leave. If I were you, I would leave. And you could definitely, and like, look, she's one of this is a picture from AU, like where Kelsey Mitchell was a big prominent member in last year, where Lexi Hull played. You can definitely think, like, she's definitely in the ear. Like, she's definitely in the ear of these players being like, oh, you don't deserve. She's definitely texted these players being like, you don't deserve this stuff on social media. You need to get out of there. You don't deserve this. When the reality is that we saw from the exit interviews with Erica Wheeler and Kelsey Mitchell, they don't even see it. Like the way they answered the questions about the online trolls was like, what I was so impressed by how they answered it. They basically answered it in a way of like, dude, why would we care about you? Like, one, why are you asking us about these people? And two, why would we care about these people? Not like, oh, it's so hard dealing with them, being like, why the hell would we care about these people? Like, it's how you give the trolls the least power, is by just being like, why we look at this? Oh, people want to say this stuff about us for us to read. Let's not do it. So it's funny how confidently wrong she can be about the Fever dressing locker room. And that is the one thing I will always give Christy Sides credit for. I think she's a terrible basketball coach, but like, as far as like a culture setter, making sure her team is on the one page, I actually think she was exceptional for that. And I actually don't think she was the bad coach for this year, because to navigate all the other shit in the league. I think she did that really well. And that's why I think she was probably so highly regarded as an assistant. And it's why I think Lynn Dunn probably thought maybe she could make her a head coach. But she's obviously not there. But I do have to give credit to Christy Sides, because I think as much as anything, Christy Sides was great at navigating that. And it also probably helped that, unlike Angel Reese, who, yeah, she had a year of like the crazy stardom. But if you look back at her last year at LSU, there was like the suspension. It was just messy. The LSU team didn't play well. It was a whole messy situation. Whereas with Iowa and Caitlin Clark, there was probably more stardom on her from even the year before. And they made mistakes in the years. And by the end of it, they kind of knew how to deal with the fame and celebrity involved with playing sports as well as anyone. Which obviously 100% helped out the Fever, because you could see coming into their final year in college that it affected Iowa a lot less than it affected LSU. That whole drama affected LSU badly. Like they were champions and they got Anissa Morrow and Hailey Van Lith and then lost in the Elite Eight. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Fever vibes all good, unlike what Cheryl Swoopes wanted to say. But it is just funny looking back on it in so many situations, and the way all these players are in exit interviews, and just showing that Cheryl Swoopes talked to nobody, because even Nalissa Smith, who seems to be the most I want to be out of Fever person on the Indiana person on the team, she has nothing bad to say about her teammates. So yeah, it's a weird one. I do think it was an attempt to for Cheryl Swoopes to get a one-up over Caitlin Clark. And I don't think she hates Caitlin Clark. I don't think Cheryl Swoopes hates Caitlin Clark at all. And like people saying she does. Like, I actually don't think she does. I think Cheryl Swoopes is one of those people that when there is like a slight, like, let's just say there's like a slightly like, there's two legs of a table and they're slightly uneven. The way Cheryl Swoopes goes in arguments is that she will make sure that she shaves down both sides until none of them are left. Like, instead of like admitting sometimes that she misspoke, even if she's not entirely wrong in some situations, she is now, because 2 years ago now, she made, or was it 2 years ago? No, a year ago, basically. She made a lot of dumb comments about Caitlin Clark, and people have called her out for it. She is now basically digging herself a bigger and bigger hole, trying to not go at Caitlin Clark, but just trying to get a one-up over the people that went at her on the behalf of Caitlin Clark. She's not, like, it's not even the Caitlin Clark the trolls. Like, it is the actual like Iowa fans that called her out for lying about Caitlin Clark. She's trying to get some sort of ammo over them. And what's happening now is that she's digging a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger hole, and it's just lie after lie after lie after lie after lie in bad situation that it's now impossible to get out of. I don't think she hates Caitlin Clark, but this whole situation is, I do think she is waiting for Caitlin Clark to fail and probably praying it into existence.